Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. It feels like quite a while, actually. I don't know if it feels like that for you, but it feels like it's been a little while. And just to say, I will let you know when the next live fold is. But if you can bear with me, I'm still trying to figure out days and things. I'm going to be on annual leave for the next couple of weeks over Easter, and I know for those of you who are in for the British Origami Society. I know lots of you are gathering together, and I hope that goes really well. I hope that's lovely. I don't know whether I can't see anything in the chat box. I wonder if that's not working. I will just try and type something. Is working? I don't know. It may be because I set up the link a little bit earlier today. So, oh, brilliant. Oh, good one, Barbara. Excellent money. Yes. Excellent. Hello, Stephen. Adrian. It's all coming through now. I just wondered whether it was going to be that silence. It's amazing what difference it makes, those little messages. Thank you, everyone. I hope you've been keeping well and and creative too. So yeah, just to wish those who are going to the British Origami Society convention over Easter, I hope you have a lovely time together. And I remember I've only been twice and it was just so special. I have to say my head literally hurt by the end because it's so mind-boggling and so exciting. It's just incredible what people can make and what people have come up with and people sharing, and it's quite a small but a really committed group of people, so I hope it's really lovely. Good morning, Barbara. I guess the clocks have changed, so does that make it better? Maybe it makes it better. I'm not sure if it makes it better for you. I hope it does. What time is it for you at the moment? I know it's usually 6 a.m. I've gone forward. Oh, I always find it confusing. Oh, you've met someone who's going. Excellent, Adrian. That's lovely. Are you going yourself? Are you going? Yeah. So yes, so there'll be a gap probably of at least a couple of weeks, and I will try to figure out when would be the next live fold. But I then may be going to the hospital, so it's possible it may be a different day, or I don't know. Just watch this space. I think what I'll do is this live video I will retitle at some point saying when the next date is. So that's one way you can see. So just look at the title maybe a bit closer to the time, and I'll try and figure it out. Also share it on the Facebook group if you're on that. No problem, Adrian. Yes, commitments. And and on Twitter as well at Dr. Lizzie Burns. You don't need to be a member of Twitter to see that too. 9 a.m. Florida. Oh, nice. Very nice. That's perfect timing, isn't it? 9 a.m. is pretty good. So I thought I'd share with you another traditional Kusadama, and I know I've shared recently another traditional Kusadama, and actually these traditional Kusadamas, they maybe go a little bit against the convention of the modern origami, which is full of challenge, which I do so admire. But I have to say I've been also loving having a go at some of the traditional folds. And this is one that I folded many years ago, actually. It sits underneath a little spotlight in my room, and I love it. And it just sort of reminds me of spring somehow. So I thought this was a good one. There we go. Oh, excellent. The model collection. Yes. To be honest, actually, I would also probably not be going myself as well if I was free. Just trying to keep very careful, actually. It does vary. I think most people are back to normal, but lots of us aren't if we're looking after vulnerable others in our family, which is what I'm doing at the moment as well. And I guess, Stephen, you're in that same position too. So so bear in mind we're all in different places really, but it's nice to know it's happening, and I really hope people have a lovely time. At least there's always lots online, and you know that I continue here. It's a little bit more erratic. I know it used to be every week, and now it's a little bit. It's good fun, isn't it? Changing the color as well. You can change at the top. It's sort of they look really good. Yours normally is at home. Oh, money, yes. Completely understand that. Well, I suppose it was just a short time that people were joining us in a way, weren't they? Oh, look at the colours. At least things have got a little bit more blended, so there's no single way of being now, and I think it's made, in some ways, that's been quite healthy, hasn't it? So yes, I'm afraid this does involve a bit of glue. I'm sorry for those of you Maybe there's a way of doing this without, I don't know, but I think this is a traditional Japanese one, and I do think it's really pretty. You could use maybe a mixture of papers. So it doesn't look like it, but it's really just a glorified cube. So you just make 6 sides and then glue them together. So I will show you how to make one side, and then I'll show you the principle of it. But I do recommend it. As I said, I think it's a really nice one to do. Think of spring and then hang it up. I think it's just such a beautiful thing, and the sort of complexity that comes out of just 6 pieces is really rather lovely. So I hope you'll enjoy this. I was just keen to share things which have given me joy. So I'm going to grab a board, piece of paper. Obviously, if you're going to do your own Kisadama project with this, you'll need 6 pieces of paper. I will just show you one, and you can always look back at this film as to how to do that. And obviously you could do it coloured, whatever you feel like. I am beginning to do one with the usual size of origami paper, which will be making a square from half an A4. So I'll be adding to this one. So it's quite big if you're doing that size. I would recommend actually not too thin a paper. I've found it works better when it's almost a copy paper, works well. These ones actually a copy paper that happens to be coloured, and I think it's actually better, has a stronger form. Right, so we're going to start by making a square, as usual, but there is no usual really, is there? So I'm going to take my A4 piece of paper, folding it in half. Yeah, and I'll keep you posted about when the next one is. It's just I'll have taken a couple of weeks of leave, then may get back to the hospital, but there's also sort of medical appointments I may be involved in. So it's all a little bit, just keeping things a bit in the air, but I will figure it out and I'll let you know. So thank you for bearing with me. Little tiny neck. As I said, there's a few places you can look out. Look at the title of this closer to the time after a couple of weeks. There we go, tearing that off, and hopefully it will give a clue. Also, I've recorded another video, so another fold, which doesn't involve glue. You'll be glad to know, which will be from this Saturday. So there's something there which is Eastery, and I was given one of these again by somebody. I think it's traditional. It's certainly adapted from something traditional. So again, I'll be curious as to whether you know that. So have a little look from Saturday. There'll be a video there that you can. So it's something while we're having a break. So I'm going to take a corner and line it up. I also think it is really important to make sure you take a break, even if you're not going anywhere. Just a little change in routine can be good. So I'm just lining it up, making a nice little pointy right angle triangle. I'm going to remove this rectangle, so I'm going to turn it over, pick it up, bring that back up. Looks like a little Robin Hood's hat. Squash. And then undoing this, and a little neck. That's it. There we go. Right. So your piece of paper, if you haven't made a square, then do that diagonal fold. If you had origami paper, so it's white on one side, coloured on the other, then this side should be white. So first of all, start by doing, yes, Mandy, I was just saying, hopefully there's that delay, isn't there? So this side would be white, the other side would be coloured. So I'm going to twist it round and do the other diagonal. You may well recognise, I bet quite a few of you will recognise how we make this. Do you know how we make this Kisadama? Feel free to put in the chat box. I'm sure you can tell if you're... But it's a nice level of complexity, isn't it? Gluing it together and opening it up, actually. You recognise what it is? I think some of you will do. So just bear with me. Right, so I've done the diagonals. Now I'm going to do the horizontal, all on the same side. So horizontal, that's it. And then open up. And then do the other horizontal or vertical. There we go. As I said, this is one I did really quite early on in learning some origami. I think it was really from online, a website which it looks quite dated, but I've really liked it actually. I think I'll go back to it more, called Origami Instructions, and I've really liked it because there's you can sort of look up different models and different themes, and they're quite simple, and they just show photographs of each step, which I found really good actually, because I often struggle with the diagrams, whereas I see, oh, that's gone to that, and then putting little lines on where you should fold. I found it quite good. So that's where I learnt this one. Okay, I think it's traditional. It's certainly based on a traditional form. So we've done all the diagonals, we've done the horizontal and vertical. So our next step is to fold the outside to the middle line, halfway line, like so. One side. And then we're going to do the same with the bottom line and bring that to the middle line. So the bottom to the middle. And just take your time. There we go. It's looking like a little cupboard. Happy. Next, we're going to take the top and bring it to that middle line. Do you want me to slow down at all? I can never quite tell. So it's the outside to the middle. If you need me to repeat anything, just say. So I'm presuming you're with me. So I'm going to take the top and I'm going to bring that to the middle line. So it's becoming a smaller and smaller square. Easier on the surface, I think. There we go. Like so. And then the bottom to the middle as well. There we go. So it's looking like this now. Like a little box. Now this is all actually, I'm sure some of you were thinking of it, but I thought you'd be a bit surprised. It's really based on a windmill, sort of windmill structure, which is rather lovely. And of course, there's so many things you can do with a windmill. It's a bit like those, amazing kind of experimenting with a little structure and then seeing what patterns you can make from that. So, there we go. The sort of Froebel sort of, puzzle really of seeing how many different things you can come up with. Right, we're going to open up one side and we're going to do a diagonal line there. So I'm going to lift this up and bring it up to that line. So you're just adding a nice little crease, which is a diagonal line there. There we go. And then the same with the other edge there. So lifting it up and bringing it there, like so. I guess I'm twisting around. Looks a bit like a kind of open shirt at the moment. And now you should be able to press it down and it looks like a little house. Very sweet. Yeah, happy. Gonna do the same on the other side. So I'm twisting it around, opening up this side. And we're going to add a diagonal from there to there. So I just lift this up and put a squash there. I then recommend you do that on the solid surface. And the same with this, that line down along that vertical line. There we go. And then bring it together. So at the moment, if you just take one flap and bend, if you do actually this with each of the flaps, but let's just see it be a windmill, because actually it's such a lovely shape, isn't it? You can feel its turn. But actually for each of these flaps, if you just lift it up and fold it back and forth, just so it's, can maneuver around a bit. And here I'm going to add that line, so just picking it up. How are you doing? I don't know whether the chat box is working again or whether it's gone a bit quiet, or maybe those fingers are just very busy, which I understand as well. So it should be looking something like that. It's kind of sticking up like that. It's wacky. Thanks, Marnie. I think it's just busy fingers then. Yeah. And yeah, for those of you who kind of thought, oh, that's how we're doing it, folded windmill base, exactly, Stephen. I hope they're still always dry. That's what I love about origami. You can revisit things and still find the beauty and the joy in it. And often the simple things just give so much pleasure. It's like visiting an old friend, isn't it? That's it. Great. So for each of these, it's got a little pocket. I just want you to push that pocket down so it becomes a little square. So if you do that for each of them, pop your finger in, squash it down. Just make sure everything's nice and square. Next one, pop it down, make it into a square. Next one. So you're doing that for each of those 4. And as always, it's just like, look at that, isn't that beautiful? All of those layers. And you can see so much in there, so much depth. Nice, isn't it? Hopefully it's looking like that for you. Just wants to ping open. Yeah. So our next step, are you all happy, ready for the next step? Is to take this inside line and bring it up to the middle. Here we go, to that diagonal line. Again, just sort of take your time. And the same with that other line, that diagonal line to that diagonal line. That's what you're doing on each of the sides. So it is a bit like the throw ball squares. And I wonder whether you could actually, after this, have a go at making different throw ball cube in some form. That's a nice idea. Haven't thought of doing it before, is thinking about it. There we go. I might go and get it at the moment. I shall keep folding. I'm just going to show you the thing it reminded me of. I will be back. Yes, which I think I've shown you before. I have to say I did end up needing to glue them down a bit because they just ping open so much. But throwable squares, this idea of doing a little shape and then experimenting with what they can become. But you can make loads of little cubes with amazing little different pattern sides, couldn't you? Is that nice? Anyway, could be the side of that. I'll get back to it. Yeah, they really do. I love that. So that's something I keep up all the time, actually. It just made me think about it, this side. And you can keep going. That's only a small number of possibilities. Again, it almost makes your head hurt once you start getting going on that, because you think, oh, there must be something else. And it's a real, it almost brings on that sort of puzzle, that feeling of a puzzle. Maybe it's almost a bit like doing that sort of, how many things you can do, was it Wordle and things, how many things you can do with playing around, variations. That's what you can do with the shape and the patterns it will produce. And to be honest, these throwable squares only really works well if you've got paper that's white on one side or different coloured on the other side. But you can see it's looking a bit like one of those. So you could do some cubes this sort of way, but they'd look more obviously like cubes, I think. Right, happy? Up to that point. So our next step is to take the corners and just push those in like that. So do that on each of the sides. That's it. In a moment, this reminds me of making a crane, actually. The next fold's very much like making a side or a wing of a crane. There we go. It should look like that. Ready for the next step? So what we're going to do, a bit like the crane, is open up the sides, or a lily maybe, and taking that top layer, almost holding that little triangle and opening it up, and then gently encouraging it to sort of flatten down. So it's like a little star. And you can make stars. I don't know if you have 2 of these, you could also be making a star. Let me see if I've got another one. If I had another one hanging around. Oh, where is it? But you can sort of overlap them and make a star as well. Oh, there it is. I'll show you. Bits of paper everywhere. So you can sort of overlap them. Overlap and start to get a 8-pointed star. Anyway, so if you do this on each of the sides. So opening up, top layer, opening it, adding a little triangle, and then gently, gently encouraging it all in. That's it. And then on to the next side. Opening up the sides. That's it. There we go. And one more side for me. That's it. There we go. And so you could, if it was Christmassy time, put 2 of them together and you can make a nice little star. But we're not doing that now. The season's wrong. Okay. So this is what it's looking like at the moment. Now the idea is if you go to the back of this, I'm assuming you're all together, take these little triangles and just fold it inwards actually, because that's going to be useful. Like so. Now to make one of these lovely kusadamas, I really recommend. It's a beautiful thing. You're going to need 6 of them. You're going to need to fold 6. I will just show you how to do that. So if you think of each side literally as a side of a cube, then it's really sticking these corners together, which in Japan, glue is used a lot more. So it's really taking these corners and gluing it to the next one. So I would use a little bit of PVA, pop some glue there, push it on there, and ideally I would use a little peg, true Blue Peter style. This is one I've done earlier. So I've used pegs to hold them together. And can you see this is sort of 3 sides to the cube? Now it's something which I think you have to definitely build up in stages to make a few. Yeah, you're not going to be able to do it all at once. The good thing with this is, can you see actually, with the little pegs, you can actually then, because there you have these sort of triangular holes, you can pull them out again afterwards, which is really good by the end. Oh, really? So it is possible to do that. Will they really stay, Stephen? I'd be really impressed. Maybe if it was very stiff. Do you think that's possible? Wow, I'd love to see that if you're able to do that. Sinking it. Yes, I suppose so. Brilliant. Yeah. This is the the absolute enthusiast will find a way to make it even better. That's wonderful. Please do that if you feel so yeah. And actually it would look nicer because you wouldn't have these little bits inside. To be honest, you don't really see them too much though. So you need to build that up. And the sort of crucial step is really, it'll all be sort of flat like this, and it's opening up each of these sides open, like it's almost like opening a blossom, and it's that opening which actually really does change the appearance of it. You can see on here each side I've opened it up, and that's actually what makes it lovely. It's a little bit fragile because all of the little spikes stick out, which is why I think it's perfect to just did a loop of string. There's no sort of not gluing that in, it's just a little loop and then hanging it. And as I said, it looks gorgeous with light going through it. As you can see, I've got a sort of nighttime decoration this way. But you can add different colours in there. But but at night time it looks better, but it will glow through. So yeah, you wouldn't get these little bits, as you can see, if you've been able to do the alternating sinks. So good luck, Stephen. I hope that goes well. That sounds a brilliant idea. Make life a little bit more complicated. Fair enough. Whatever rocks your boat. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope it comes together for you. I'm afraid it's another of these projects that I've set you up with to go away. Yeah, just to show you again. Maybe there's elements of this kind of thing that you could bring into doing a sort of different sided kusudama, but this one is good. Wow, that's amazing. Oh, brilliant, Stephen. That's really good to hear. So it is possible. Maybe slightly stiffer I'm imagining would help, although it's harder work on the fingers. That's fantastic. Oh, good old challenge. It's what it's all about, isn't it? So wishing you a good Easter break. I hope you can take a little bit of a break. As I said, I've recorded something for Easter, which is a little bit Eastery. Hope you can just celebrate this time of year. Flowers opening, which is what this reminded me of, and the joy that brings. It's a bit grey at the moment, so but when you see a flower, it does make you feel happier, doesn't it? Thank you. You're very welcome, Marnie. So it's going to be at least a couple of weeks. I will be on leave for the next couple of weeks to take a break. And as I said, it may be a few weeks, I'm afraid, till I'm back. But anyway, it will happen. You're so welcome, Stephen. I hope you've just enjoyed our little fairly regular gathering. And thanks for bearing with me. Life's a little bit of a complex balance of things, and I will hopefully figure out when the next time is. But in the meantime, just look at the title of this film, and towards certainly at least in a couple of weeks' time, I'll hopefully have a feel for when we'll work. But I'll keep you posted, and I will return. We will return. So happy folding. Have a lovely Easter. For those of you who are going to the British Origami Society, I hope you have a lovely time too. Thank you. Bye-bye.